Seven.
7,000,000.
7 new.
7.
7. 7. 7.
7 Point Highlander.
Hello, and welcome to 7 Point Cast. My name is Liam, and I'm joined by my co-host Mouse.
Hello, hello. Excited to be here for a brand new season in the aftermath of the events to end all events.
Yes, our guest today is Dylan Kidd. Dylan, how you going?
Doing good, thanks, mate.
Now, Dylan played a crazy deck at the event to end all events. Mouse came up to me at the end of round 6 or round 7 and said, Liam, I just played against the Opps all spells deck. How did you end up going in the event?
I ended up doing very mediocre. I just went 4-4, but that's to be expected. The deck's pretty new. It's only been around for about a month before the event. That's when I assembled it. So I think it's more player reps than the deck itself. So.
And before you played this deck at the event to all events, how did you get into 7 Point Highlander and Magic specifically?
So Magic specifically, I got back in Magic in 2011. That was just high school. My high school teacher sort of got me into Magic. Bought my first ever deck builders toolkit because those were a thing back in the day. Opened up a Liliana of the Veiled Planeswalker, and I've just sort of always been in the races since then. In terms of 7 Point Highlander, I only moved to Australia about 8 years ago. I'm originally from South Africa. And yeah, when I moved down to the Frankston area. And over there was a bit of a Highlander scene going on. We have some notable names like Jimbo and all of them were down there during the time. So they sort of got me into the whole Highlander scene, and I've been hooked ever since.
Right, that's crazy. Now that you say that, I actually can definitely hear the South African accent.
Yeah.
Are you like Joburg or Cape Town? Like what part of South Africa?
I'm a Joburger. I grew up in Joburg. Spent my entire youth in Joburg, and yeah, just most of my adult life I've been in Australia though.
Yeah, fair enough. It's a nice place. I've been to South Africa. My wife and I actually got engaged in South Africa, believe it or not. But yeah, no, I was there for like Liam and I were there for. Liam, were you at that debating competition in South Africa? Or
No,
not?
I didn't go to that one. I went to the one before and after.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So look, look, it's a cool place. I don't mind it. But here we're here to talk about Oops All Spells. Which like if for those who played Legacy probably know in theory what the deck's all about. But it kind of, I guess, how would you say it? It's not a deck which someone would organically port over to 7 Point because you can't play 4 Balustrade Spies. So do you want to just walk us through like how did you make it work? The port into Singleton.
So unlike the Legacy version, we're using a lot of tutors to actually grab our cards. And the thing that drew me to Oops was like in Legacy you have to force check them, right? And the thing about this deck is in the Highlander sense is they only have one forcible, as with we are still left with at least 2 spies, with the Hermit Druid, of course, which just acts as another spy. So you've got more consistency opposed to the interaction that you're usually fighting against. Yeah, it's just tutors. Just tutors kind of filled in the gap.
Maybe just before we talk about the singleton nature of it, for the smooth brains like me out there, could you explain what Oops All Spells does, how it wins, and why you wouldn't want to put a land in your deck?
Okay, so how Oops All Spells functions is you've got 3 main cards that trigger it, minus the Goblin Shell Belcher. You got Bale Certify, Undercity Informer, and Hermit Druid. These 3 creatures, they have a line of text that a player mills until they mill a land. The deck is constructed in such a way that we're only using MFDCs as lands, and therefore when the trigger resolves, it doesn't see any lands in your deck, and you have access to your entire deck in your graveyard. Once that happens, we kind of need to figure out how we're going to win from there, because now you have access to your entire deck. And what we're doing is we're using Narcomedia, a mixture of like Narcomedia, Bridge from Below, Poxwalkers, Hogak, Gravecrawler, just so we can build up enough creatures to cast Dread Return on Thassa's Oracle. And since Thassa's Oracle's like the best win con printed in Magic in a very long time, it's worthwhile spending the 4 points on it.
Right, so behind all the coolness and bluster of the deck, we're playing Thoracle.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we play Thoracle, but instead of a 2-card Thoracle combo where you need like Demonic Console or anything, this is just a 1-card combo. You just play a Spy and the combo is activated.
Right, okay, so you have a bunch of cards in your deck that mill your entire deck into your graveyard, a card like Dread Return that can return Thoracle from the bin to the battlefield, and then you win the game.
Yes, that's correct.
This sounds really cool. How do you ever lose?
Forcible. It's a force check deck. It's most of the time you would battle against any sort of blue X deck if they fighting with you on the stack access. That's usually how game 1s go, is it's a fight on the stack. Games 2, you're sort of fighting against Rest in Peace effects, Grafdigger's Cage, and the likes of that.
Yeah, okay. And so with so one of the things I'm kind of curious about is when when you're dread returning Thassa's Oracle, like a lot of the creatures on the board kind of start with Narcomoeba. Is there like a contingency plan for if you happen to draw Narcomoeba before the whole thing gets milled? Or are there like other ways which you can like kind of start the chain going to like, bridge below the zombies and play it and dread return them?
Oh yeah, for sure. There's a lot of contingency put into the deck. I guess that just comes from thinking about the deck non-stop for a month straight.
Mhm.
You're just thinking, if I combo off, what happens if I have a Thassa's Oracle in my hand? Or what happens if I have the Dread Return in my hand, and that sort of thing.
Mhm.
For your specific scenario, with the Narcomedia being in hand, the deck does run a lot of Mana Dorks.
Mhm.
And that's just because we can't run 4 of Dark Ritual, etc. But having extra Mana Dorks around does help as sacrifice fodder for the Cabal Therapy.
Yep.
And Cabal Therapy is sort of what you need to just start the entire chain. Because once you Cabal Therapy, then your Poxwalkers comes back. You get your 2/2 zombie. If you have extra mana floating around, you can get your Gravecrawler back. That means you've got 2 untapped black creatures to get the Hogak back, and then that's sort of how you find your way around that. Unlike Legacy, where you can run 3 Narcomedias, etc., this deck, you need to know your limits. You need to know when you can go off and how you can go off. Because if you're unaware, like, oh, Narcomoeba's in my hand, if I don't have an extra mana, I can't bring back my Gravecrawler, I just fizzle. And that's sort of how you would lose games. So it just comes like knowing your deck to get around those sort of scenarios.
Yeah, okay. I do like that the way that whole thing changed together, hey, because I'm imagining it's not even just Cabal Therapy, like Tinderwall and Wild Cantor can sacrifice themselves. So that's like another way which you can, start the chain with Bridge from Below.
Yep.
With Poxwalkers, is Poxwalkers specifically that you need to cast a card though, or does that trigger off? I'm actually trying to find it in the deck. It's so difficult when it's all spells. Like to find any one card in the list is actually surprisingly difficult.
Yeah. If you have a look at the links, I did send a link that has them tagged.
Yeah.
The one on the screen has them tagged as combo pieces, lands, mana accelerants, etc.
Yeah.
Right, but it is cast a spell. So
Yes.
if for example Cabal Therapy is in your hand, because like I'm thinking in my head, you want to cast the spell with Poxwalkers because you want the zombie type to then cast the Gravecrawler, and then you've got
Yes.
your two black creatures which then make the Hogak. So having the 2 black creatures, like in some ways the Poxwalkers is very, very important. If you've drawn the Cabal Therapy, what's the next, I guess, like cast trigger for Poxwalker which you go to?
You can go to Memory's Journey. That works as well. Bridge from Below does generate zombies, so you can also cast the Gravecrawler, which also triggers it.
Right, okay, true. So if you draw the Poxwalkers, in fact, any sacrifice will do then.
Yep.
Because then the Bridge Below makes the zombie, and then the zombie gets the Gravecrawler. Okay, so then having a lot of black mana seems quite important then.
Yes.
What's your I get like do you just play the spy out with 0 mana and go for it, or are you trying to, I guess, like, are you trying to activate the spy or the Undercity Informer with a bit of mana floating? Like what's the game plan there?
So Bailstrip Spy specifically, we okay just playing that one out because he stays behind. As with
Mm,
Undercity Informer, you need to sack another creature all itself.
right.
That's when you need an additional mana for the Gravecrawler.
Right, okay. So because the Ballad Spy stays around, that means that he is his own, like walk me through it. So does that mean like he's his own Cabal therapy target basically? Is that the idea
Yes.
there? Right,
Yeah,
okay.
he's just yeah, and he can Taffel Hogak, etc.
Yeah, of course, because he's also a black creature. Um, and then the Undercity Informer, whereas that one, yeah, I remember you did this against me. You kind of just play the Undercity Informer out and then just pass the turn. Or do you usually try to like play Undercity Informer and then sacrifice in the same turn?
That mostly depends on the scenario.
Hmm.
Um, Against you specifically playing a control deck, I think this was post board anyways. Um, the game plan sort of changes post board against control decks. I'll go through that a little bit later
Hmm.
because I found control players tend to not actually fight for you to combo off. They want to fight you on your combo turn because that's their win con, right? You don't have a library left.
Mm.
So if they have 2 points of interaction and counter your Memory's Journey or your Dread Return, they sort of just win the game on the spot. So I found a lot of like Juzz Online and that sort of thing. That was the routes they were going to combat the deck. So post board, we sort of add extra contingency to that sort of plan. So
Yeah,
we
okay.
need the more mana. We need more mana in the combo turns.
Yep, okay, that makes sense. And so like in your alternate things like just like Charbelcher, is that just oh I just had a lot of mana and I happened to draw this? Like are you ever tutoring for like these kind of backup plans, or is it just kind of like it's nice when I have it, but otherwise I don't care?
Yeah, it's nice when I have it. Otherwise, I don't care. Delphi Voidwalker is a notorious silver bullet against this deck that is main board playable. In those games, you're playing Demonic Tutor, like the best tutor in the game.
Hmm.
You have 2 copies of Belcher in your deck. And if the scenario comes along that you need to just Belcher them, you just Belcher them. It's just another I win button in the deck.
Okay. And with the flip cards, are there any flip cards which you're ever casting, or is it just kind of like these are lands, like they're lands with text on the front side, or is there like are there niche situations where you're actually interested in casting them at the main end of it?
Oh, I've cast every single one of these flip hands to win a game.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah.
Incredible.
Every single one of these flip hands have a use in the deck, and I've curated very specific ones. Um, I'll start from the top and I'll just go down on
Yeah.
what their uses are. So, Malakir Rebirth and Revitalizing Repast, those are sort of used when you're playing out your Hermit and it's a protection spell for your Hermit
Okay. That makes sense,
because
yeah.
Hermit doesn't have haste, so you need to pass the turn. So if you got one of those in your hand, you kind of just hold them up, protect the Hermit from the removal spell, and then next turn you win the game.
Yep. Okay.
We got the old modern combo in there with the Malakir Rebirth and Grief. I've done
Mhm.
that numerous times where I just scam a Grief into play and that gets me there. Stomp, Bridgeworks Battle, Fell the Profane, and Hagra Maulin.
Mhm.
Those are our removal spells in the deck. So all 4 of those cards sort of act as removal. So like I said, Delphi Voidwalker is sort of a silver bullet for the deck, and most people mulligan for it.
Mhm.
Those are our ways out of it main board. We don't actually run your Fatal Push or anything because of the slots are so tight. We
Mhm.
just rely on the MDFCs to fill in the gaps.
Right.
Um,
That makes sense. You could just play out the Gravecrawler and then stomp the into a Doughty
yeah,
Voidwalker.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, you got other things like the Bolligate Recovery. That's just a regrowth. It's fine to play out just by get a counter, regrowth next turn, play it again. Black Bloom Rogue, Boggart Trawler, the Mammoth, all those sort of creatures. You can, when your opponents are boarding in as much graveyard hate as possible, sometimes just playing a fair plan is fine. With bad creatures, but just sometimes just playing a 3/3 that can grow every now and then is fine to win the game. Yeah.
Can I quickly ask on that? Like, how I like how sweaty are you getting in terms of like, you know, in the open deck list, for example, like counting how much your opponent is compromising their own game plan? Because, or like, you know, the decks like this, I think, are pretty good at inducing a fair amount of panic, right, in your opponents, where they're like far out, like, you know, I could learn on turn, listen to 1 and 2. I'm going to side in like 12 sideboard cards, like anything which has a chance of interacting is going in. And you know, like often decks can become really mangled after that much churn. Are you kind of tracking that and going, oh, like this is definitely a Kazandu Mammoth will just win me the game because there's no way they can answer like a 5/5, you know, for example, after they've finished with all of these sideboard things, you know, like is that something you're tracking and like, you know, adjusting your own game plan for, or are you always just kind of like playing to the board which emerges in front of you?
I just play to the board that merges in front of me.
Yeah.
One thing I really like about this deck is like the sideboard plan is very cut and clean. There's no ooh or ahs or like, oh, maybe this card's good against them. When you're playing this deck, you need to realize you're the boogeyman at the table. You don't care what your opponent does. You don't care if they're playing moons or anything like that. You're just wanting to do your thing and play solitaire as quickly as possible. So when it comes to sideboarding, you just like, how can my opponent stop me? It will be rest in peace effects, etc. And then that's when you bring in all your nature's claims, etc.
Yeah.
So that's advice I took from one of my good mates, Tom Bott, where he says, don't worry about the metagame. Just produce the most powerful deck that you can and let your opponents worry about it.
Yeah, be the one asking the questions. That's the
Exactly.
Yeah, been said before.
Exactly.
And so what about like getting back on the MDFCs? What about some of the really expensive ones like the Drown of Truths or the Blood Soaked Insights or Turn Timber Symbiosis? Do these really come up and win the game sometimes?
Bloodsoaked Insight has been used before to just playing against a control deck. I hit them with a creature, I cast it, and I get some value.
Yeah.
Drowner of Truth, I've turboed out Drowners of Truths before, and that ends up winning me the game, just a 7/6 beater.
Yeah.
And Turn Timber Symbiosis is kind of like a Coco. Like, the game has gone on so long, all your stuff has been counted, and you just keep playing. Eventually, you just cast it and hope in your top 7 you got a spy.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, it does a cool thing. What's like the weirdest way you've killed someone?
I've done they've counted my what's it called? My Thassa's Oracle trigger. And I was stuck with the Thassa's Oracle on board. I just created like 5 zombies, put a Hogak in play, put Green Sun Zenith back on top of my library, and just cast that every single turn so I don't mill out and just beat down.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty clever.
Yeah. Is that like actually, is that a thing where with the Memories Journey where I guess like, yeah, if things are getting desperate, you're like, all right, our Memories Journey, Green Sun Zenith, and just like keep on doing it and then just like hope that what I've got is enough?
Yep. Yeah, you would put Green Suns and you put like a Thoughtseize and maybe a removal spell on top, and you just like, well, I'm playing an 8/8 Hogak. I got a bunch of zombies. It's like 16 power on board. This should get me there.
Yeah, okay, that's sweet. Liam, have you got any questions about this? I feel like part of the fun of like this deck is that it's almost like just its own how do you say it? It's like, you know, when people say when you're playing Dredge, you're like, oh, you're not really playing Magic, you're playing this like other mini game that just happens to interact. I feel like this deck is a little bit like that as well. Like it's like its own little engine. You learn how it works, and that's part of the fun. Liam, have you got any questions about like how?
Yeah, I do. What about like an Entomb Reanimate style package. Could that get a look in this deck? Like either not necessarily for Atraxa, just like Entomb, Balustrade Spy, and just go off for 2 mana.
I think since reanimate is 2 points, it's not worth the point spread.
Or even like
It's
Animate Dead. Oh, it's 4 mana, so you can't do Unearth. That's a real shame.
I could see that being a thing. It's just the slots are so tight. It's now you like contributing another 2 card combo into the deck, where the whole idea of the deck is a 1 card combo deck, because that's what sets this deck aside to like most of the other combo decks in the format. Like most of the other combo decks in the format, you need an A plus B to actually combo. As if this is just an A, you just need a spy and then you're activated.
And sorry, Mouse, you go.
Oh no, you go on.
I was just gonna say, in terms of the land, so there are, just to rewind a sec, there are 19 of these double face land cards. Is the reason for playing 19? You're like, 19 lands is enough, even if I'm not playing cantrips, or is it these are the only ones I can stomach playing, or how did you come to the determination for the number to play?
It was kind of a balance between lands versus dorks versus rituals. So in terms of like actual lands, we're playing 19 lands. I count Chromox as another land, so that's 20 lands. And then in terms of mana accelerants, we've got 14 other versions of mana accelerants in the deck. So more than 50% of the deck is just mana. So I don't feel like having such little lands is a hinder. You just want to do your thing as quickly as possible. So the extra copy of land in your deck is just an extra turn before you can combo, opposed if it was something like a Lotus Petal or Simian Spirit Guide or something like that.
And sorry, just another card that's sticking out to me is Jack-O-Lantern. What role does that play in the deck?
That's your mana fixing. The downfall of the deck is we have a terrible mana base. That's probably the worst mana base you can play in an internal format. Your lands are bolting you, not even shocking you, and then they don't even tap for 2 different colors. So Jack-O-Lantern is used in those combo turns. If you just have black land, then you can still do your Memory Journey. I've even used Jack-O-Lantern when I've got a Thassa's Oracle in my hand. Then I dread return the Wild Cantor, and then there's my 2 blue mana to actually cast a Thassa's Oracle.
Yeah, okay.
Oh my
Pretty-
gosh. I guess like do you have to you have to sacrifice. You can't like draw a extra card every turn. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, look,
That would be pretty insane.
it's the cost of adding it to your deck is so little, because so what inspired me to build the deck is a couple of months before I actually built the deck is Rhystic Studies released a whole thing on Opps spells, and like I took a couple of things to heart. Of what they said in there was like, you got to understand, once you comboed, you have access to every single card in your deck. It's like a big doomsday, and because you have access to every single card of your deck, adding cards like Jack-O-Lantern and that sort of thing, there's very little cost to actually doing it, because you're a heavy mulligan deck anyways. You mulligan into 5 on the constant, because you want Spy plus 4 mana. That's what you're mulliganing for. If you find Thought Seizers and Tutors along the way, that's great. But you want like a Spy of some sort and 4 mana.
So you're looking for like fast. So you're looking for, and your substitutes here are the tutors, right? So you're going to keep mana plus tutor as well, because that's kind of the same thing. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. And so like, what's the because like I do like what you were saying about before about how this deck is just A. Like Hermit Druid alone does the job. Undercity Informer alone does the job. Like that, if you get one of those creatures, that's good enough. And so like you've got 3: the Druid, the Undercity Informer, and the Spy, and then the extra ones are like your like the Sylvan Tutor, Green Sun Zenith, Worldly Tutor, DT, like Lively Dirge. Oh, that's kind of like what Liam was talking about in the it's kind of like the Entomb Reanimate card. How what makes what because Lively Doge is like an Entomb Reanimate, which no one plays except for you. So
Yes.
what makes this one good enough, whereas like Entomb Animate Dead is not?
Lively Dirge is one card, and it's pretty much a 5 mana spy because you do the spree, you search your library for spy, you put it into your graveyard, then you return it immediately. Opponent can't interact during that time because the spell needs to finish resolving. So if they have a Death Ride Shaman or something, it doesn't work.
Ah, that's interesting. See, I didn't know that. Okay, so right, it's like it's the all-in-one. It's just like five. Yeah, so it is a 5 mana spy. Like,
Yep.
yeah, yeah, it does. Okay, fair enough.
To be
What's the
fair,
like?
if they had a Deathrite Shaman while you did the Lively Dirge, they'd just be able to get your Oracle anyway, right?
Yeah, that's the thing about graveyard hate in this format, besides like very little ones, such as that black instant one that a lot of Grixis players play.
Yeah.
Yeah, besides that, they all revealed to you. It's on the board. You can see it.
Hmm.
And you have the agency of I'm not gonna combo off this turn. You don't just because you can doesn't mean you should. So when you see like, oh, there's a Death Rite on the board, you're like, okay, well, I need +1 mana. I need the +1 mana because I need to cast my Memory's Journey and make a Memory's Journey pile to try beat this point of interaction that they have.
Yeah. I do like that though, yeah, because like in some ways, I imagine that Death Right, and if your opponent's leaning on Death Right, that actually isn't good enough because it's like, oh, that's all well and good, but my plan is actually just Hogak and 3 turns of drawing on Memory's Journey, or as you were saying with the Green Sun Zenith, like it's you just pivot to a different way to kill them.
You can even decide to just put Thassa's Oracle back on top with Pentat Prism and the Green Suns, so you got the Hogak plan, and eventually you're just going to cast the Thassa's Oracle as well.
Oh yeah, I like that a lot actually because it's kind of like they both have to find they're under pressure from the Hogak, but also yeah, but also if they do find the answer to that, you've got to so you've got like another shot, another bite at the apple at getting them.
Yeah.
What is I guess like what's like the best tutor that didn't make it? Because for example, I imagine like if Eladamaru's core wasn't in white, that would probably be a shoo-in, right?
Yes, that would be a shoo-in. I've been through like every single tutor, and the 3 mana tutors just aren't good enough. You look at the points list and you look at the pointed tutors. Like people look at like Profane Tutor and that sort of thing. Like, oh, why don't you like drop DT and then put in 2 tutors sort of scenario.
Yeah. Okay.
Profane Tutor's just too slow. It's
Yeah.
suspend too. I went off turn 1 numerous times on the weekend. And yeah,
What does a turn one go off look like?
a turn 1 kill. It's usually a mixture of like untapped land, mana vault, dark ritual, spy.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. So in some ways it's technically not that complicated, hey?
Yeah, you got multiple avenues for a turn 1 kill within the deck. You're running so many you're running every single type of ritual possible. Like I'm even on Culling the Weak, which
Yeah.
is like I don't think I've ever seen a deck run Culling the Weak as a ritual in this
I've
format.
seen a lot of people say that they really want to run Color in the Week, but they just can't. But
I actually think it's in Storm. Remember when we had Richard on a month ago? It was in his sideboard.
No, I think Richard was saying that culling was one of the like awesome ones that he can't run it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, but the one which Richard does run, which I think your deck kind of is like Rain of Filth, right? Because the well, actually, could you run Rain of Filth? Like, or is by the time you get to 3 lands, it's too late.
I thought about Rain of Filth, and the issue with Rain of Filth is that's really all in. Like that's
Yeah.
beyond all in. And most of the time, like how you combat like blue decks and stuff like that is you just run all out your worst spy. So
Yeah.
you run out the thing, let it get countered, next turn, untap, cast the next one.
So
Yeah.
hold on. Entire library in my graveyard, not all in, but if I sample my lands, 2 all in, he says.
So entire library and graveyard, you've already won the game. Sacking
Yeah.
all your lands and getting your spy counted, you've lost the game.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's about the point at which you go all in. Yeah, if the spy trigger's on the stack, that you've done the job.
Yes, that's correct.
And so, like, so the deck is really, in many ways, it is just green black. Like, because obviously, like, you get a bit distracted looking at all the pips. Like, there's tons of stuff going on. But fundamentally, you are a green black deck, right?
Yeah, it's just a Golgari deck.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Like, cause look, there you go, people. It's a combo deck and it's not blue. Um,
It's what's more important is it's a combo deck, and it only costs $730 US.
yeah, true. Because there's no jewels. It's 8 points. Um,
Yes.
yeah. Okay. Actually, here's a question: Is there like, could Doomsday be good in this deck, or is that a waste of time?
I had it in my sideboard for a little while. That was just a looking at Oops or Spells sideboard plans in Legacy and in Pauper, because it's also a Pauper deck. And most of them will have like the Char Belchers and stuff in the sideboard as like a sort of way around Graveyard Hate.
Yeah.
I did have the Doomsday in the side because you can just create a Doomsday pile to just Thoracle and win the game, right? It's the
Sure.
exact same thing as a Memory's Journey.
Yeah.
The problem I had with Doomsday is because of our lands. Our lands are bolting us. We take in so much damage. Like sometimes the margins are very slim when you're playing against a Goblin deck or something. You're going off when you're on 1 life and you're just hoping.
Yeah, okay.
So
Yeah. And actually, yeah, now that you're saying as well that sometimes the plan is actually here's like two zombies, Poxwalkers, and Hogak. The life actually does matter. Like you might actually need to engage in a turn or two of combat, so you can't really be going down to like one.
yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, okay. That's cool. Is there like is there any room like for example, if Eladamri's Call like Eladamri's Call, the problem is that it's white. Like, have you tried stretching the mana to make that work? Or because I'm trying to think though, there are like no fetch lands, so you would have to organically draw the MDFC. I'm answering my own question as I'm asking it. Um,
I've got a one. What about Finale of Devastation as slightly worse Green Sun Zenith?
Green Sun Zenith is our worst tutor, and the whole point of actually playing Green Suns is for that Hogak loop.
Yeah.
As well as like there's a few sideboard cards. At the Lotus event, I was playing things like Santa Swarm, and well, Outland Liberator is still in the deck and that sort of thing. So it sort of acts as a way to find your sideboard cards as well. Finale being double pip green makes it a lot more difficult.
So your
Just
double pick
because-
is usually always black.
Yeah, because you got things like Dark Ritual, etc. I mean, even if you look at the deck, the only like double pip black thing I can see here is like the Grief, which you never cast in anyways, and the Hogak you're cheating out anyways, and then you've got like your Dread Return, which is you're not casting anyways.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, and another thought, I was just looking at the sideboard. I see 3 ley lines in there.
Yes.
I understand the life force and the sanctity; they make a lot of sense. But leyline and the void seems it seems a little bit weird in that you're not really interested in interacting too much with the opponent. You just want to combo off. What role does that play?
Leyline of the Void, surprisingly enough, mostly it's for the other combo decks that might be able to get an edge on you. So things like your Breach, your Storm. I even bring it in against lands because getting Strip Mine, Wasteland looped in this deck just feels terrible. Just due to the fact that most of our lands enter the battlefield tapped, so you never get access to that mana anyways. It's for those other combo decks. Like, as much as I say, like, oh, don't care about what your opponent's doing, sometimes you have to care just a little bit, and I've got one sideboard slot for it.
Well, I mean, I do like ley lines as well because it's like if you've got them, you've got them. If you don't, you don't. And with a deck like yours, where the whole deck's going to the graveyard, it's not like I can imagine the amount of time for it's like, oh, that's a bad top deck is pretty marginal. Which, yeah, I will say as well, Leyline of Life Force. This is a card where I don't even know if it existed. Is like on one hand, it very much has like a almost EDH feel about it of like, yes, my guys can't be counted. But like looking at it, should like Nadu be running this card? Like, so for reference, it's got the typical leyline text of it enters play if it's in your opening hand, but it just says creature spells can't be countered, period. Like there are a lot of creature combo decks in this format. Maybe do you reckon this belongs in other decks? Like, are people sleeping on this card?
I'll say if you're a combo deck that wants to resolve creatures and you're a heavy mulligan deck, so you mull in constantly, then yes, I'd say play this card. But if you're something like Nadu or something like that, where you can keep a fair hand and just be fine with it, like here's my 7, it's got some dorks, it's got a tutor, it's got a swords plowshare, maybe a forcible or something in it. Oh yeah, I'll keep this. Then I'd say you're not playing it. Leylines belong in decks that mulligan heavily.
Right. Okay. So yeah, if you're more all in, then it's the way to go.
Yes.
There's this I think I might know the answer to this, but it might be worth exploring anyway. You know that artifact which kind of gives you the free mulligan, the serum powder. Is there a world where that goes in, or is it just too much of a liability to perhaps exile away a key piece?
Yeah, it's the exiling away a key piece that's sort of a liability. Like Serum Powder shines in decks like bots where you just mull in for fast banner. It doesn't matter if you exile your Ugin or something like that because you just have an Ugin too.
Yeah.
So in this deck, like if you decide, oh look, I got my hand and it's got a knocker media and a bridge in it, I can't keep this, and you Serum Powder that, now you can't combo off anymore.
Yeah. Okay. And what about what about cards which have kind of like those turn 0 or free effects? So I'm thinking cards like Chancellor of the Annex, is kind of like a counterspell, or like Once Upon a Time could potentially find like a spy, or I was thinking of the Eldrazi one, but that has that same problem of the exile. Drowner of Truth has that exiling problem. Like, are these cards worth it? Just because they're free spells in your